Good evening and many thanks for joining us. I am Ansmane Sonyasi and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue. Our headlines this evening: addressing thousands of supporters at the Basse Mini Stadium, President Adama Barrow calls on Gambians to join forces with him for the development of the country. As part of the tour, President Barrow also visited an agribusiness project site in the North Bank region where he announced his plans to create more employment opportunities for youths and plans to achieving self-sufficiency in rice production. Comium, one of 4 GSM operators in Gambia, has been served with a 2-week suspension notice due to unpaid arrears amounting to nearly $70 million. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, the former special representative of the Secretary General and head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, has visited the Gambia ahead of the December 4th presidential elections. In international news, about 1 million children in Nigeria will miss school because of school closures brought about by a spate of mass kidnappings of school children in the northern states, according to UNICEF. Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And unfortunately, we begin tonight's bulletin with some sad news. The Q Group chairman, Mr. Mohamed Jah, and the entire Q Group family wish to inform the public of the passing away of their colleague, brother, father, uncle, and friend, Mr. Nuha Marena. This sad event occurred last night in Dakar. Nuha Marena became the managing director of Ajib Bank Limited in 2014 and retired in December 2020. He was an accomplished banker with over 30 years banking experience. He worked in the Gambia, Afghanistan, Jordan, Ghana, and Angola in various roles, including credit risk management, compliance, operational risk, operations, and technology at very senior managerial levels. He had worked with Central Statistics Department, Government of the Gambia, Gambia Commercial and Development Bank, Meridian, BIAO Bank, and Standard Chartered Bank. Mr. Marena also served as the president of the Gambia Bankers Association. The Q Group family send their deepest sympathies to the Marena family and pray that the departed rest in perfect peace. The funeral is at 10 a.m. tomorrow, 18 September, at his house in Old Yundum. Now, President Adama Barrow has called on Gambians to join forces with him for the development of the country. He made the remarks on Thursday while addressing thousands of supporters from Jimara and Fuladu districts at the Basse Mini Stadium. Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports.
This is a great fanfare at Basse, in a region where the president was born. The mini stadium is filled with the biggest crowd the president has ever had in the last 4 days of the tour, a fact President Barrow acknowledged. The Alcalde of Basse opens the dialogue, assuring the president that he has the full support of the people of Basse. Here, people are excited with the president's development projects, which include the construction of the Basse Market, roads, and a bridge project, which have been completed and are due for inauguration next month. Despite these projects, there is also a demand for more of such infrastructure development. This meeting also witnessed the presentation of brand new ambulances which are provided to villages for community emergency response. The president distributes 2 ambulances for Jimara and Fuladu districts.
asinano jang
ala jododo
anala alkalum wara bagadaji
alkali udo bagadaji
ani alkalum wara sare bojo
alkali udo sare bojo
wolle ambulance sotla
kambe heli ambulance
ni ala sanda lokum fulanyaro ambulance binala adu no nara wol fulangata ambulance do la kono.
The Director of Health Promotion and Education of the Ministry of Health, Modou Njie, clarifies that the ambulances were purchased from taxpayers' money. The initiative has been popular among the speakers in the dialogue with the President.
The best investment is investment on human resource.
President Barrow issued a clarion call to everyone to join hands with him for the development of the country. In response to demands by farmers and other communities in the previous Meet the People store, the head of state makes some announcements on response measures.
Fuladu is Kumbija. Masingo nati masingo mealong akanyole sura. Wafana mbembulo kolo. Jimara bagadaji. Nga pawatila nati. Jimara. Sambin-Kunda. Usura. Sare Tlata Cluster. Mbe boholo kala nyisate ol be.
If he emerges victorious in the December 4th, 2021 presidential elections, President Barrow expressed interest in building an NPP government that will work together with and tap the experience of the political parties in alliance with the NPP to develop the Gambia. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News, reporting.
Also, while visiting an agribusiness site in the North Bank region, President Barrow announced his intention to construct a road linking the agribusiness site in Balingo village to the region for easy access to markets. Mahmoud Lamin Choi again.
This is a holistic agribusiness solution, a project aimed at promoting youth employment and a productive future for returned migrants. The project, implemented in Balingo village in the North Bank region, aims to train Gambian youth in horticultural gardening and related business activities to earn a living.
We also train them on basics of business in order for them to be able to run their businesses when they complete the training. So it's not just about tilling the soil, growing vegetables, but also to know how to, make your business plans, how to calculate your cost, and how to make your profit analysis and all whatnot, your data bank and all whatnot.
President Barrow was taken on a tour of the facility where young people have been productively participating in crop production, poultry farming. The site is equipped with a solar water pump and irrigation system for a year-round cultivation. President Barrow is impressed with the scale of productivity.
What I have seen so far, the people who are trained here, if they graduated, they can employ themselves. They can be self-reliant. I think that is important as far as agriculture is concerned. And these are young Gambians. Training young Gambians, the future of this country, I think that should be everybody's business.
In order to access markets to sell their produce, the road to this agricultural project site is in need of a good road network. For a solution, the President breaks the good news for the young people.
I've just been informed that my office, the SPD, have also identified this road for construction. That is even news to me, but that has shown the level of commitment of my technicians. These technicians are very important to us. They are very important to the politicians. We want technicians that are smart, that think ahead of us. So it is news. I think this is a very important news for the people around this area. It's very good news for this project because marketing is important in whatever they are doing.
In 2019, Sabablu Foundation and its Gambian partner, the Rural Development Organization, established this holistic agribusiness solution through a vocational and educational program for unemployed youth and migrant returnees. According to the project's timeline, 400 young people will be trained over the course of the next 10 years. Among the courses in the vocation training are horticulture, animal husbandry, permaculture, food processing, tools and equipment marketing, product development, customer profiling, and market analysis. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News, reporting from the Upper River region.
And we will still stay with Mahmoud Lamin Choi and President Barrow, because during a visit to assess one of the project sites of the agricultural rice value chain development, the President expressed his government's commitment to achieving self-sufficiency in rice production by 2025.
Rice is the main staple food in the Gambia, which many depend on for their daily meals. But for many years, there has been poor figures in rice production in the country, which the President has acknowledged and announces an ambitious goal within the next 5 years.
si wàllu liggéey maalo am nañ fi ay projet yu bare te ñu ngi bugga balaa juróom benn at si kanam fekk maalo duñ ko jegaani feneen fii la ñoo bee sun maalo bi ñu lekkee ko Gambia fii.
An ambitious project for rice self-sufficiency demands strategic plans. The President visited the supported palm irrigation rice production farm at Sotuma Samba in the Upper River region.
We are importing about 80-something%. It's very, very high. How much are we producing? We are producing just 13%. 13%. That is very, very small. You know, it cannot happen overnight. You know, but how do we change those numbers? The percentage. I think that will be key. It's important. It's important for our economy if you want to grow our economy. It's important for food security. It's also good in fighting poverty. Poverty is a big sickness in this country, you know. But if we can produce enough food for ourselves, I think we'll eliminate poverty in this country.
This 5-year agricultural value chain development project in rice production commenced in 2016 and has over 8,000 direct beneficiaries, comprising more than 3,000 women, close to 5,000 men, and more than 4,000 indirect beneficiaries. It covers 500 hectares of land. The project manager tells us about the production capacity of the rice field.
This is from our calculation, it should be 4.5 tons per hectare and 9 tons per hectare per year. So 9 tons per hectare times 50 hectares. 9 times 50, 450 tons per year. And this is only for Sotuma.
According to the International Trade Center Administration, the Gambia has a great potential for irrigated agriculture, with fresh water from the River Gambia, rainwater if harvested, and fossil water that can be drilled. It also has a water pattern that is suitable for almost all crop production. President Barrow hails this project, saying it is in line with the National Development Plan.
Use the importation of rice, and also we consume quality rice, you know, because the rice is produced here, we know. When you order the rice from Brazil, it might be 1 year or 2 years old. But here, we are sure that it is fresh.
A vision for self-sufficiency in rice production in the Gambia will contribute to affordable prices of rice for the population of over 2 million people, whose per capita rice consumption was 177 kilograms, according to a pre-harvest assessment report for the 2019-2020 cropping season from the Ministry of Agriculture. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News, reporting from the Upper River region.
And we will now take a short commercial break, but when we return, we'll have some more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply. The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from the short commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News, coming to you live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue with me, Ansmana Isonyase. Now, Comium Gambia, one of 4 GSM operators in the country, has been served with a 2-week suspension notice due to outstanding arrears amounting to nearly $70 million. The Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PURA, made the announcement at a press conference on Friday. Alucisa attended the conference and he now reports.
The Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PURA, says Comium has failed to pay license and spectrum fees for the period 2020 and 2021 and international gateway levies amounting to $69.1 million, which forms a fundamental part of their license conditions. Also, Comium has other outstanding liabilities such as the sports levy on GSM operators. The regulatory authority says Comium have been served with a notice of suspension and given up to 1st of October 2021 to prove why PURA should not suspend their operating license. However, Comium still remain in operation, but customers are advised to secure an alternative service provider pending the final determination of this matter. Comium Gambia, one of the 4 mobile telecommunications providers in the country, was launched on 25th May 2007 as the 3rd GSM operator at the time. With the slogan, "We are better together," Comium Gambia became popular after its launch. But as the telecommunication industry became more competitive, Comium became dormant but continued to serve its customers. For many, it is the quietest of the 4 GSM operators in the Gambia and has been widely described as the poor man's network. Yusufa M. Job, the Director General of PURA, says his office is left with no option and as a last resort, under the directives of the Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, took this difficult but necessary decision.
That notice of suspension is not a suspension, it's a notice. And this should be made very clear, contrary to what you are seeing on social media. In accordance with our regulations, we are to advise any service provider who is defaulting that we intend to cut your services, suspend your operations if you do not make good on what is required in accordance with our rules and regulations. And this is why the provider has been given 2 weeks to regularize and correct the anomalies so that we can restore the relations and not move to the second level, which will involve invoking suspensions.
It is not clear what is responsible for Comium's failure to meet up with its payments, but according to PURA, if Comium fails to act by the given deadline, the process of activating the suspension will start, which also has a timeline to run.
So, if you ask me, it is a very difficult task. We are in a very difficult period. And they have been coming up and discussing and negotiating and stating that they will be making good on these payments. So I believe that there will be more time with this notice for them to be able to do something in the interim to solve the situation.
We tried to speak to officials of Comium, but they weren't available for comment at the time of this broadcast. Imam Mendy, Director of Legal, Licensing and Enforcement at PURA, said the officials' response from Comium to PURA will determine what next step to take. After the elapse of the notice, Comium had operated in several African countries, including in Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast. However, they went out of business in Sierra Leone, while in Ivory Coast, the Ivorian government in 2016 shut down the company for unsettled areas amounting to millions of dollars. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Mohamed Ibn Chambers, the former special representative of the Secretary General and head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, has visited the Gambia ahead of the December 4th presidential elections. Babukar C reports.
Ibn Chambers had played a key role during the mediation process in January of 2017 when former President Jammeh refused to relinquish power. This time he came for a different mission. The former special representative disclosed to journalists that he is in the country to discuss with political parties, stakeholders and CSOs to develop a code of conduct ahead of the elections.
The main objective of the work we are engaged in is to have the political parties, civil society, media, work out a code of conduct that will then be signed by the candidates for the presidential elections, which we will know hopefully by early November. It is crucially important that the elections of 4th December are peaceful. The Gambia is known as a peaceful country. Gambian people are known for their civility. And with this coming elections, the challenge is huge. This will be the first elections in the new democratic dispensation. Gambia cannot do worse than it performed in 2016.
Despite the challenges the country faced in the last elections, which ushered in a new government, Mr. Chambers said the international partners are ready to partner with the country and its stakeholders for another peaceful elections. He acknowledged the important role the media can play in ensuring a peaceful election.
And journalists as a whole play a professional, objective, and unbiased role in ensuring that the peaceful atmosphere that we want is there. And they should do that by correct reportage, by basing their reports on facts, verifiable facts, and also by giving all sides equal opportunity to be heard. I have, of course, pointed out that this should apply not just with state media, but in fact we hope that private media will equally understand the importance of giving all candidates a chance to be heard so that they can deliver their messages.
The former special representative of the Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel is optimistic that the country can head to the polls and elect a leader in a peaceful atmosphere. However, he stressed that this can only happen beginning with a peaceful campaign ahead of the elections. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And that report by Babu Karsi there will lead us to the international break in a moment. Welcome back. We now take a look at some international news. So schools in Nigeria's northwestern Zamfara state have been ordered closed after scores of students were kidnapped by gunmen. According to UNICEF, about 1 million children will miss school because of the closures. More in this report by Omar P. Jallo.
More than 37 million Nigerian children are due to start the new school year this month. But according to UNICEF, 1 million Nigerian children are likely to stay away from school due to a series of mass kidnappings and attacks targeting students in schools in the north of the country. The UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, says 2.8 million children in the northeast of Nigeria need educational emergency support due to the violence in the region. So far this year, there have been 20 attacks on schools in Nigeria, with more than 1,400 children adopted, 16 killed, and more than 200 children still missing, according to UNICEF. Adding that kidnappings in Nigeria were first carried out by jihadist group Boko Haram, but the tactic had now been adopted by criminal gangs. Education has been among the worst hit sectors due to the COVID-19 lockdowns, but to the affected areas and students, the menace of mass kidnappings has been blighting their education as much as the pandemic. Despite the government's pledge to secure the schools, critics said it is either unwilling or unable to fix the problem, as government's only response has been to shut schools down, which has been described by its critics as an attack on the children and their right to education. A spokesperson at the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Emmanuel Hande, said they don't want the government to make mere pronouncement that they are on top of the situation. They want the government to take responsibility and take actions that will abort such occurrence. Amnesty International has described the latest incident in Zamfara as disturbing, adding that attacks on schools and abduction of children are war crimes. The human rights watchdog expressed concern over the serious risk of harm faced by the adoptees and calls on the Nigerian authorities to take all measures to return the students to safety. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Indeed, some quite disturbing news there. And I'm afraid that is all about it. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap from your headlines. Addressing thousands of supporters at the Basse Stadium, President Adama Barrow called on Gambians to join forces with him for the development of the country. As part of the tour, President Barrow also visited an agribusiness project site in the North Bank region where he announced his intention to create more employment opportunities for youths and plans to achieving self-sufficiency in rice production. Comium, one of 4 GSM operators in Gambia, has been served with a 2-week suspension notice due to unpaid arrears amounting to nearly $70 million. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, the former special representative of the Secretary General and head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, has visited the Gambia ahead of the December 4th presidential elections. In international news, about 1 million children in Nigeria will miss school because of school closures brought about by a spate of mass kidnappings of school children in the northern states, according to UNICEF. And that is all we have for you in this bulletin, but do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.